Hello, everybody. Today I'll do something unusual. Normally I have studies or two mover puzzles, but this one is a three mover puzzle. So, of course, it steps up a little bit in difficulty level from two movers. We have to analyze further on and look at more options and different variations. So, anyway, white to move and win this in three moves. The pawn is going up. And as a rule of puzzles, if the king and the rook stands like this in their original position, and we cannot prove neither of them have been moved, and castling will be acceptable for black. It is possible, but I can tell you this is not the essence of this puzzle. Whether or not black can castle, it doesn't matter. The solution will be the same. So that's a little hint that I give to you. So, okay, now you can analyze this and see if you can come up with a solution on your own by pausing the video now. Go ahead. Okay, welcome back. So, of course, if this rook wouldn't be here, we would have a checkmate one straight away. And can we do something about that? If we grab this rook, we are still threatening a checkmate here. Well, then black can move his king. He can castle, but he can also play king f8. It doesn't matter. He will escape here to g7. We can't do much about it. We can try to get a checkmate here on f7, but as the king will escape like this, there's no checkmate in three moves. And also, really, I don't know what to say. We cannot, perhaps we can try to go here, block g7 and threaten to take here with checkmate. But then black will push his pawn like this, and he will create an escape route on e7 for the king. And this is not a checkmate either, because he can go either way with the king. So the solution is not to grab this rook, which of course would have been way too simple for this kind of puzzle. Okay, let's see. Why do we have this pawn here? Can we push it and threaten to take the rook? Well, that's no point. First, black will always use up one of our moves to exchange here on b1. Then he can move this rook. There's no checkmate here. The king can always escape to f7, which is the reason why we have to keep this pawn here. It blocks f7, and that's the most important thing he has to do right now. Okay, so since we can't take here, then we can obviously not move the rook. The king is no point in moving, and neither the bishop. So there is a queen move to start with, and the question is, of course, which one? If you think about it, we can try something like this. Try to put the queen as a decoy. If black grabs it, well, then we have checkmate in one. But putting the queen on a1 or a7 doesn't really threaten anything. It gives black the opportunity of forcing this extra move for us. And now we have to find a checkmate in the next move, which is, of course, not possible. If black goes here or really move anything, we're not threatening a checkmate. So there's no point in sacrificing the queen somewhere. Can we put the queen perhaps here? We threaten both rooks and threaten to take on h8 with a checkmate. Well, same goes. Black waste one of our moves, and then perhaps we can play e6. And the same again, create this escape route for the king, which doesn't allow us to checkmate at all. And that's also the reason why queen c3 doesn't work. It will be the same, and push this pawn so the king can escape. We don't have a checkmate on c8 as we hoped. Okay, so let's point out the first move. Now I looked at so many moves. This is the obvious move, and this is actually the correct starting move in this puzzle. We are stopping the king from coming to f8, because then we'll have a checkmate on f7. We are also threatening a checkmate right away on c8, which makes it perfect, because if now black takes this rook, yes, it wasted one of our moves, and we got one more. But we will checkmate here on the next move on c8, unless the black king comes here, and then we have the checkmate here instead. But this is not the whole study, or puzzle, I should call it, because the most important thing is what happens if black doesn't take on b1. Instead, he goes back to a8 to guard this checkmate and try to stop everything. And now it becomes interesting because it's not easy to see now how white can win in two moves from here. So you can look at this as another bonus puzzle. And if you haven't solved it, now is the time to see and pause again. How can white win in two moves starting from here? Go ahead. Okay, here we go. Well, there's no point in checking. It will just bring out the king. Same, we will check here. We will bring out the king to this place. So the queen is pretty good here. There's no point in sacrificing the rook, obviously. And if we move the rook somewhere else to threaten things, well, then black can go back again to a1 with a check and mess things up for us, which means we are not checkmating in three moves. So the rook has to stay, the queen has to stay. There's no point in moving the king. Wherever we go, black will have a check somewhere to mess with us. There's no point in moving this pawn now either. Again, there's a check here that he can do and escape with the king. So if we cannot move either rook, queen, king, or pawn, what should we move? Well, it turns out this is a classic Zugzwang issue. We just play bishop to h3. We're blocking this pawn, and now it turns out we're not threatening checkmate, but we will get a checkmate whatever black does. If he moves away this rook from the 8th rank, we will checkmate with either the queen to c8 or the rook to b8. If he moves anywhere here, it will be taken by the rook with checkmate. Same goes if he puts here. Even if he gets a check, we just take it and it's a checkmate back. And if he puts the rook on d8, well, then he blocks the path for his king. So then we have a checkmate here on f7. Same goes with the king. He cannot move. It goes here. It's a checkmate. It goes to the other direction. Then it's a checkmate. We are blocking both pawns. So the only thing left to look at is if he moves this rook. If he goes here, well, then it blocks the king from that way. Then we have a checkmate here. If he goes here, then we simply take it. And if he moves up somewhere, doesn't matter where, then we have a checkmate down here on g8 with the queen. So this is really the cool thing about this puzzle, I think. Finding the first move isn't that hard, but finding the second move after black responds with rook a8, that's the tough one. Finding this beautiful bishop h3 and creating the Zugzwang. So I hope you managed to find this all already from the start, or maybe you found it somewhere along the way. Anyway, I like this puzzle, and I hope you did too. I'll see you tomorrow again for another little puzzle. We'll see what we get. See you then. Bye bye.